Welcome to the deep dive. You know, you've brought us some really fascinating material today from Bruce Feiler's book, The Search.
It's powerful stuff.
It really is. And it taps into this feeling I think a lot of us have that the old script for success at work, it just doesn't fit anymore.
Not really, no.
I mean, think about it. You shared that stat. A third of the workforce leaves their jobs every year.
And another third are trying to reshape the jobs they're in.
Exactly. Pushing for, more flexibility, maybe more meaning. So the old blueprint's gone, but we haven't really figured out the new one yet. So that's the big question we're diving into today, right? How do you actually find meaningful work when everything's changing so fast?
That's the core of it. And Feiler, he uses this term workquakes. These moments of disruption or reevaluation in our work lives.
Earthquakes. I like that.
Yeah. And the scale is just immense. He says 80 million Americans are going through one at any given time.
80 million. Wow.
But here's the key thing. He frames them not just as disruptions, but as invitations. Invitations to redefine what success actually means for you.
Okay, so our mission today is basically to pull out the key insights from Feiler's research, which you mentioned is based on hundreds of real stories.
Hundreds, yeah. Real people navigating this.
And give you, the listener, a kind of toolkit for navigating your own workquakes. It's about writing your own story, not following someone else's script.
Precisely. Understanding what matters for your unique journey.
Okay, so let's start with just how big this shift is. It's not just a few people feeling restless, is it? We're seeing a real move away from the traditional, grinded out culture.
Definitely. People are looking for different kinds of arrangements, variable setups. Some are even willing to, sacrifice the typical markers of success to get that.
Like promotions or salary bumps.
Exactly. For more control or meaning. It's a major shift.
And these workquakes, they're happening a lot.
Yeah, they are surprisingly prevalent. Feiler's data shows they're more common, they start earlier in our careers, they last longer, and they affect us more deeply than we might think.
How many are we talking?
The average person, according to his research, goes through about 20 workquakes in their lifetime.
20?
Yeah. And for millennials, it averages around 25.
That's a lot of shaking up.
It really is.
Yeah.
And it reflects this growing idea of work being mobile. Feiler found 80% of people see themselves as either nomads, always moving, or pastoralists, settling for a few years, then moving on.
So that changes everything about long-term planning, doesn't it? If you see yourself as constantly potentially moving.
Absolutely. It shifts the whole mindset around career commitment.
And what really struck me was your point that these aren't always triggered by work itself.
Right. That was a big surprise in the findings. 55% of workquakes actually start outside of work.
55%? From what?
Things like personal changes, shifts in your own thinking, life events. It completely breaks down that old wall between work and life.
Yeah, that idea you can just leave your personal life at the door. It doesn't really hold up.
Not when you look at the data. And historically, it makes sense too. For like 95% of human history, work wasn't this separate, sacred thing.
Right. People just worked. That's part of life.
Exactly. Farming, crafting. The word career, it comes from the Latin for chariots, like running a course.
Yeah.
That professional meaning is relatively new.
And job for full-time employment only really kicked in around the 1850s.
Yeah, with the Industrial Revolution. And then came the resume, this key invention that arguably kind of boxed us in, defining our work lives in this very specific way.
Which leads us to now this sort of multi-layered work reality you mentioned. People aren't just doing one thing.
Not at all. Feiler talks about our main jobs, maybe side jobs for extra cash, caregiving responsibilities, but he adds two really interesting categories, hope jobs and ghost jobs.
Okay, tell me about those. Hope jobs, like passion projects.
Exactly. Writing that screenplay, selling crafts on Etsy.
Yeah.
Things you do hoping they might become something bigger.
I think a lot of people can relate to that.
And then ghost jobs. These are the unseen things that take up so much time and energy.
Like what?
Self-doubt, dealing with discrimination, money, stress, mental health challenges. They're real jobs in terms of the effort they demand.
Wow. So how many jobs does the average person have then, when you count all this?
His research suggests the average is about 3.5 jobs.
3.5.
Yeah. And 63% have more than one just for the money, let alone the hope and ghost jobs. It's a complex picture.
It really is. Acknowledging all those layers, the seen as unseen work.
And you see people trying to piece together meaning from all these different sources. Take Eric Velez-Villar's story.
The FBI guy.
Yeah. Top intelligence role, huge salary, highest federal honors. The pinnacle of conventional success.
Absolutely.
But he walked away, said he'd give it all back. He actually envied, like, car wash workers or mechanics who seem to have simpler, maybe more connected lives.
That's incredible. Envying a mechanic when you're earning $800 K?
It just shows that disconnect, doesn't it? External success doesn't always equal internal fulfillment. People are trying to build meaning in different ways now.
It really forces you to question those assumptions about success. So if the old measures aren't working and reality is this messy, multi-layered thing, what about the advice we always get?
Well, Feiler argues some of the most common advice is actually, well, kind of misleading now.
Like what? What's the first big one we should maybe rethink?
Follow your bliss. Joseph Campbell's this line. It sounds great.
It does. Very inspiring.
Only 1 in 6 people Feiler studied who are happy at work actually got there by directly following some predefined bliss.
Only 1 in 6. So how did the others find happiness?
Most took different routes, often indirect ones. Look at Todd Krause.
Okay.
Managed billions in investment firms. Huge success by any standard. But his bliss, his fulfillment, he found it by eventually going back to running a small business.
So not by chasing the billions.
No. He works fewer hours now, measures impact in daily interactions, employees, customers, vendors. It's about engagement, not just chasing a feeling.
That makes sense. Finding meaning in the day-to-day, not some abstract bliss. Okay, what's another piece of advice that maybe needs an update?
The classic, make a 10-year plan.
Ah, yes. The long-term strategy. Sounds sensible, right?
It sounds sensible, but life rarely sticks to the plan.
Yeah?
Feiler talks about butterflies.
Butterflies. Like the chaos theory thing?
Sort of. More like unexpected events, people popping up, sudden changes that just completely derail your neat 10-year roadmap.
So planning is pointless. That feels unsettling.
It's not about abandoning foresight entirely. It's about realizing rigid plans often break. The key is adaptability, resilience. Think about Kathy's story.
The social worker.
Yeah. She's doing social work, seems on a path, then has this burning bush moment, she calls it. Sees a need for affordable car repair in her community.
Okay. But she was a social worker, not a mechanic.
Exactly. Knew nothing about cars. She's over 30, enrolls in auto maintenance school, a middle-aged lesbian in a class full of 18-year-old guys.
Wow, that takes guts.
Totally. She struggled, but she pushed through, opened Lyft Garage, provides affordable repairs, becomes a CNN hero.
That's amazing. And definitely not part of a 10-year plan, I imagine?
Not even close. It shows how these unexpected turns, way off the planned route, can lead to incredible impact. Sometimes the best plan is being open to no plan.
It really connects to that other point you mentioned about the traditional American dream, that whole up, me, mine, win idea.
Right. People like Anuj Bhandari, who Feiler interviewed, they see that old dream as almost oppressive now.
Oppressive? How so?
Like it forces everyone into the same mold, a mold that doesn't fit everyone. Bhandari argues we need to define success individually.
Okay, so if the old advice is shaky and the old dream doesn't fit, how do we actually figure this out for ourselves? How do we write our own story?
That's where Fowler's main framework comes in. He calls it the meaning audit.
Meaning audit.
Okay, it's a process. Immersing yourself in your experiences, reflecting on them, and then sort of ascending, gaining clarity.
Mm-hmm.
And he uses Kipling's 6 questions as the tool.
Ah, the who, what, when, where, why, and how.
Exactly. They're prompts to help you dig into your own story, focus on self-discovery, not just what everyone else thinks success is.
Okay, let's break those down. First, who is your who? What does that mean?
It's about your core values, often stemming from your upbringing, your parents, what they teach you about work, life, money.
Right. Like my parents always emphasized X, Y, or Z.
Precisely.
Yeah.
But it's also about your unique experiences. Take Aaron Krause.
Okay.
His parents were a surgeon and a pediatrician.
Yeah.
Very successful, respected.
You'd expect him to follow a similar path, maybe.
Right. But he became a firefighter.
Why?
His childhood was different. He talks about, like, rigging a light switch so he didn't have to get out of bed, buying his own underwear from age 13.
Okay.
It built this deep self-reliance in him that led him down his own path, different from his parents.
So who is about values, but also about what makes you uniquely you?
And it's also about finding waymakers, people who help you on your journey, sometimes in surprising ways.
Waymakers. Like mentors.
Sometimes. Or transitional figures. Think of Murrow Park. Grew up on a farm, ends up at the CIA, Soviet analyst, super prestigious.
Yeah, definitely.
But she moves into management.
Yeah.
Then payroll. Then HR.
Yeah.
Eventually becomes COO. Her friends were like, "Are you crazy?"
Yeah.
Leaving the analyst role.
I can imagine.
But her ambition was horizontal, she said. just doing whatever she was doing really well, not just climbing vertically. That was her who.
Interesting. Doing it well versus just moving up.
Or win a land story. High-level corporate job for decades, stable, then transitions gender at 56.
Wow. That's a huge shift later in a career.
Huge. But she found support from her employees, learned to live authentically. That authenticity, that became her strength, her who.
So the who can evolve dramatically. It's not fixed.
Not at all. It's finding and embracing that core self, even if it takes time or transformation.
Okay, that makes sense. Let's move to the next one. What is your what? Finding work that matters to you.
Yeah, what actually engages you. And Feiler talks about role models here, people you knew, maybe people you didn't know, even fictional characters who embody something you value and work.
So looking outward for inspiration on your what?
It can help, but the key is it's often not about the prestigious title. Look at Chris Donovan.
A shoe designer.
Right. People told him, just be the telephone repairman. But his what was designing these unique shoes using fiber optic cable, salvage stuff,
13.
making something identifiable as his.
Finding his unique craft.
Or Erica Rodriguez, third-generation descendant of farm workers.
Yeah.
Reads the artist's way, gets inspired, and decides her what has to align with her veganism.
Okay.
So she launches Axiology, a completely vegan, cruelty-free makeup line. It wasn't about finding a job, but finding work that felt deeply aligned with her values.
So the what is really about that intrinsic connection, the engagement, and not just the job description.
Exactly. Does the work itself feel meaningful to you?
Yeah, got it. Next, when is your when? This sounds crucial. Timing.
It's huge. Reading your gut, reading the situation, knowing when to make a move. And often it boils down to that question Feiler poses. Which is greater? The fear of staying or the fear of leaving?
Oh, that's a tough one.
It is. But often the fear of not living authentically or not pursuing something meaningful outweighs the fear of change. Think of Alton White.
Mufasa on Broadway.
Yeah, 12 years in that role, secure, prestigious. But he left. Why? He said he was afraid of learning lines from movies, of being on set, of losing his house.
Those sound like reasons to stay.
Right, but he reframed it. These are all fears I wanted to conquer. The fear of not conquering them became greater than the fear of leaving the known.
That's a powerful shift in perspective.
Or Tim Pierpont, 20 years in commercial real estate. Then a colleague gets sick, makes him think. He leaves to start a painting business. Wanted more control.
A painting business after real estate. Wow. Did he make more money?
That's the interesting part. Feiler found half the people who said their work quake was a positive step forward actually made less money afterward.
Half. So the when isn't always about chasing a bigger paycheck.
Often it's about courage, control, purpose. Redefining what forward means.
Okay, that's a big insight. Next question. Where is your where? Place. You said this gets overlooked.
It often does. But Feiler emphasizes that place is intimately related to character. The environment shapes you and your work.
How so? Give me an example.
Think about Derek Ray from Deadliest Catch.
The king crab fisherman.
Right. Grew up in Oregon, hated school, loved sports, the outdoors. He found his where in that intense, high-stakes environment of the Bering Sea. It suited his character.
Okay, I see. The place matched his personality.
Or Michael Smalls in South Carolina. He weaves these beautiful sweetgrass baskets. It's hard physical work. He deals with alligators, snakes.
Sounds rough. Why does he do it?
He left a job in a rug plant. He does this because he's passionate about the craft, the tradition, the connection to that specific place and its history. That's his where.
So where is more than just geography. It's about finding an environment, an ecosystem where your character and your work can really thrive.
Exactly. It's finding the place that feels like your element.
Makes sense. Now the big one. Why is your why? You mentioned the childhood toothache.
Yeah, this is about getting to the root motivator, that persistent pain, pattern, or wound from your past that you might be trying to heal or address through your work.
And you said the categories were things like injustice, helplessness.
Right. Injustice was the biggest, almost half, 47%. Then helplessness at 30%. Escape, identity, and money were much smaller.
Injustice being the top driver is fascinating. How does that play out?
Well, first you have to identify it. That takes courage, like Brian O'Loughlin.
Okay.
Grew up in Harlem, South Bronx. Saw, in his words, the worst of humanity. He decided very early on, I want to leave every room I entered a little bit cleaner.
Wow, that's a powerful why.
It drove everything. He became an ER nurse, a helicopter rescue specialist, a law enforcement officer, all driven by that deep need to combat the injustice he saw.
So he turned that pain into a mission.
Exactly. Or Mary's story. Worked at Prudential, big corporate job, Giving was very public there. She left to work for a small nonprofit, Rainbows for All Children, helping grieving kids.
Why the switch?
She realized her own why was tied to unresolved grief over her father's death. She wanted to, as she put it, change lives, not charge profits. Her focus shifted from public recognition to quiet, meaningful service, healing her own toothache by helping others.
So identifying the why that toothache is the first step, then you channel it.
Yes. You transform that vulnerability, that wound, into a source of purpose and contribution, from personal pain to shared purpose.
That's profound. Okay, last question. How is your how? The practical steps.
Right, the nitty-gritty. And interestingly, advice is important. 83% found it helpful.
And you said colleagues were the top source, not mentors or family.
Surprisingly, yes. Colleagues were number one. 1 in 3 people cited them. Then professionals, friends. Family was actually a distant fourth.
Huh. Maybe colleagues just get the day-to-day reality better.
Could be. And the type of advice that helped most wasn't complex strategy. It was affirmation, you're on the right track, and encouragement. Go for it.
Simple validation and a push.
Exactly. Each accounted for 37%. It's about building confidence. Think about Robin Arzon.
The Peloton instructor?
Yeah. She went from corporate lawyer to fitness icon. Her how involved 7 steps she identified. Saving money, using social media, taking a sabbatical, literally cold calling Apple and Peloton, making a vision board, and then just taking the big leap.
So concrete actions combined with belief.
Yes. Or back to Aaron Krauss, the firefighter. His chief told him something crucial.
What was that?
Anybody can do their job. Not anybody can tell their story. But in the end, it's your story that gives you depth. It gives you empathy. It gives you compassion. That became his guiding principle, his how.
So the how is action, plus owning and sharing your unique story.
Precisely. It's not a rigid formula, but embracing the journey, learning as you go, and understanding the power of your own narrative.
Okay, so bringing this all together for you, the listener, what does this mean? These aren't really rules in the old sense, are they?
Not at all. Feiler talks about centering the edge.
Centering the edge.
Yeah, embracing those unconventional paths, the unique insights, like Kathy and her garage, that often lie outside the mainstream. That's where innovation happens.
And rewriting your narrative, taking
Yeah.
those ghost jobs, the self-doubt, the money worries.
And turning them into ancestors. Not things that haunt you, but sources of wisdom, lessons learned that guide you forward.
Okay. And turning those childhood toothaches.
Into poetry. Finding meaning, purpose, even beauty in your struggles, and how you choose to respond to them and heal.
So the real takeaway message here is,
It's that success is a story you write yourself. Full stop. It's about personalizing it, ditching the outdated standards.
and constantly asking.
What makes me happy today? What fits my life right now? It's an ongoing process, not a destination.
Which brings us to that final, powerful question from Feiler you shared.
Yeah, it really sticks with you.
If not you, who? If not now, when? It's a challenge, really. An invitation to start writing or maybe rewriting your own work story, starting today.